I'm Katie Lockwood and I'm going to be talking about the comparison of my preliminary task to my final draft of my music magazine. For this final media task, I had to complete a front cover, contents page and a double-page spread for my music magazine of a chosen genre of music. The genre of music that I had chosen was jazz, therefore I was looking to create a music magazine that incorporated themes of jazz music and that gave my target audience a relaxing read but still managed to get their attention. As I wasn't too sure on what a jazz magazine would look like, I had to complete a lot of format research to understand what would make my magazine stand out from others with a different genre of music, such as pop. Personally, I think in terms of my target audience for my jazz magazine, I've aimed it towards a more sophisticated audience, as I find jazz a classy genre of music, meaning the house style of my magazine would have to convey this look. For my first draft, I did have my house style as black and white. However, due to my peer assessment, I found out that it didn't highlight the important parts of my magazine because all of the text was the same colour. Therefore, I decided to include the colours purple and yellow, as they are two very contrasting colours and are very eye-catching, making it easier for the reader to see any pull quotes or images that perhaps weren't made as visible beforehand. You can see in the image of my front cover of my music magazine how I've edited the main image to give the illusion that the trumpet is coming out of the magazine. I believe this is an effective way to invite your readers into the magazine because it entices you to read more. To ensure that the reader is made apparent that this is a music magazine, I've incorporated musical notation on my front cover. For example, within the masthead, the letter J in jazz is replaced with a saxophone. I thought this was a clever way to present my editing skills and shows my imagination and creativity well throughout this media product. This idea has been continued throughout my magazine to create a house style. The yellow puff in the bottom left-hand corner of my front cover includes the buzzword free. This is a good way of selling numerous copies of the magazine, as there may be readers that are just there because they're interested in the free gift. Therefore, putting this puff on a yellow background is an advantage as it stands out from any other text on the front cover. By comparing my first draft to my final product, there are lots of noticeable changes that I've made following my peer assessment, such as the images. In my first draft, my main image was the instrument itself, whereas within my final product, I have made the artist my main image because I think it is more appealing to the reader if they see a well-known artist on the front cover of a magazine, as they would be more likely to buy it. Also, the contrast of colours that I've used in my final product compared to my first draft is much more effective than just black and white because even though black and white does convey a classy magazine, the use of brighter colours to highlight important aspects of the magazine is also very necessary. Another point to add to this is that my first draft looks too plain and doesn't exactly have any cover lines, only a pull quote under the secondary image. I've used the same puff, free CD inside, although it is made more apparent with the yellow background and the exciting font. It actually suggests to the reader that there is something worthwhile inside of the magazine. The text on my first draft isn't really empathised at all, meaning it wouldn't be very engaging with the audience and they would most likely not want to read it because it looks too bland and doesn't look important to the magazine. Now I'll be comparing my final front cover of my music magazine to my preliminary task I did a while back. In the making of my front cover for my preliminary task, I was only just getting used to the software on InDesign, meaning I found it quite hard to be more creative as I had to ensure that I was doing everything correctly and efficiently. Although saying that, I did still manage to produce a front cover that met the aims of a school magazine which was suitable for my target audience. The positives of this front cover were that it had a clear house style. This was red and grey. The information I used was put across to the audience nice and clearly, and any original photography has been edited and is displayed on the front cover visibly. Although the negatives of this are that the boxes aren't all the same size. This is in terms of my text boxes that I've used for my cover lines. The puff doesn't really stand out from any of the other text, even with the buzzword plus on it. I find that the text is too plain and similar to the rest of the magazine. Also, the headline isn't big enough to be easily readable to my target audience. The word madness I've placed over the top of my main image. However, I do believe that it should have been underneath and placed in a bright, bold colour.